What's going on, guys? And today I'm doing an updated video of who should be All-Stars this year. So if you don't know, this is based on my personal opinion, and I base it mainly off the fact if they're having a good year, if they deserve it, and if their team's doing well. I try not to do legacy spots, but I end up doing at least probably one or two per team, but for the most part they still kind of deserve it. So let's get started, and this isn't based on the All-Star voting that we have gotten back. This is based on my opinion who should start, and so definitely let me know if there's any discrepancies between who you think should start and who should play and what I think. So starting off, here is my East starters, consisting of Kemba Walker, DeMar DeRozan, Jimmy Butler, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and LeBron James. So no one here is really surprised, and some people would be surprised that Kemba's here. The reason I have him as a starter is, as I mentioned in previous videos, I go to UConn, and he is probably one of the greatest UConn players of all time besides Ray Allen. So I think he deserves some respect, and I have a huge bias towards him, and the fact that I feel like he would get left off if he doesn't become a starter. I'm just nervous about that, but he definitely deserves to be there. So Kemba's having a great year. He's averaging 23 points, 4 rebounds, but 5.5 assists. Being really efficient, shooting 47, 42, and 83 from the line. Those are shooting splits, and that's going to be how I'm going to talk about everyone. So I think he definitely deserves it. DeMar DeRozan has been very solid as well. He started off super high, he's cooled down, but still he's averaging 27.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. He can't shoot the 3, but he does shoot 47% from the floor and 84% from the line, so he's a pretty effective scorer, and I think he's one of the best guards currently in the Eastern Conference, so that's why I have him there. So now for my front court, everyone should agree on this. Yes, I believe that Kevin Love is currently third, and Kevin Love, your spoiler alert for a couple minutes down the road, he definitely should be an all-star. But these are my favorites, and yes, I also am a huge Joel Embiid fan, but I don't think he should be a starter. I'd love to see him come off the bench. I don't have him on this team, but I just love to see him in an all-star game. So Jimmy Butler is currently averaging 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 4.5 assists. He's shooting about 46% from the floor, 33.5% from the deep, and 88% from the line. He's having an excellent season so far. He's the only reason why the Bulls are somewhat decent. I mean, Dwayne Wade's doing fine, but for the most part, Jimmy Butler is the main reason why he needs to become a true superstar. Now, LeBron is having a great season as well, averaging 26 points, 8 rebounds, and 8.5 assists. I believe that's his career high for assists, and he's close to his career high for rebounds. He's starting to creep his efficiency back to his Miami numbers. At 51 from the floor, 37.5 from deep, and 68 from the line. His 68 from the line is not that great, but he's never been an excellent free throw shooter. But he's starting to become what he was in Miami. He's starting to become even more and more efficient, and he's having a great year. He's definitely the MVP for the Eastern Conference, and I have him probably top 3 for MVP, which means I also need to probably do a video soon enough on my award winners halfway through the year. And finally, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is an absolute animal. I've watched a few games of him lately. I watched the Knicks game where he went up against Porzingis in Milwaukee, and he was phenomenal. His stats currently, at least when I searched these up a couple days ago, he's averaging 24 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, I believe 2 steals and 2 blocks, leading his team in every statistical category, also including field goal percentage, where he's shooting 54% from around the court. He's not that great at shooting from deep, only 29%, but he's a pretty solid 78% from the line, and he is one of the greatest young players in the NBA right now. And if they had to do that poll of who would you start your team with, I think Giannis would definitely win it. He has absolutely everything. Now going towards the bench, there are tons and tons of guards, but let's get it started. First up, I have Isaiah Thomas, and quite a lot lately, people are comparing him more and more to Allen Iverson. And even though I was really young when Iverson was at his prime, I still watch a decent amount of Iverson, more when he was like on the Nuggets, because that's when I started watching the NBA. But I do remember some of his his games when he was in Philadelphia. But he's having a really good season, averaging 28 points, not a lot of rebounds. He is 5'9" after all, but he's averaging 6.5 assists, and he's being pretty efficient, shooting 45.5, 36.5, and 90.5% from the line. Incredible numbers, and he's a huge reason why Boston's doing so well. Him and pretty much the team is really good all together. So that's definitely a big reason why. Now my other guard, I have John Wall. John Wall is averaging a phenomenal 23.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 10 assists. I believe he's also averaging 2 steals per game, or right around that mark. And even though the Wizards are kind of struggling, he's the only reason why they are still a legitimate team. So I think he definitely deserves a spot. He's actually doing pretty well, shooting 46.5% from the field, only 32.5 from deep, but 82 from the line. So he's a pretty solid shooter. Next up is Paul George, who is starting to slip quite a bit, but he's still having a good enough season that he merits an all-star game, averaging 22.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 3 assists. He's really efficient, 45% from the field, 39 from deep, and a phenomenal 93% from the line. So he's right up there amongst league leaders from the free throw line. Alright, up next, our next Cavaliers player, we got Kevin Love. Kevin Love is having a great year, and I think it's perfect to give him an all-star nod, because the thing is, he struggled the past few years with fitting onto the team, and I feel like having an all-star nod really helps out the player to what's that word? Wow, I'm taking a psychology class right now over the break, and I really should know what this is, but reinstate or whatever. I feel so stupid. I'll probably scream it out in 2 minutes. Remember what it is. But reinforce, yes, reinforce how good he's doing. He's averaging 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists. So he's starting to get back to those Minnesota numbers while being the third scoring option on Cleveland. He's doing everything super well, shooting 45 from the field, 40 from deep, and 87 from the line. So he's having a great year all around. So I think he definitely deserves an all-star nod. Next up is Dwight Howard, and Dwight was one of my guys I was kind of thinking, I wasn't too sure. But the thing is with Dwight, I think he's doing solid enough that he merits an all-star game appearance. He's having his best year since probably when he was back in Orlando. He's he's averaging 14 points, 13 rebounds, and he's getting 1.5 blocks per game. He's really solid for Atlanta. He's not playing a ton of minutes compared to how he used to, but the whole thing is he's doing very, very well. He's shooting 64% from the field, which is really good. And I think that at this point, the Hawks deserve one all-star, and it's between him and Millsap. And I think he deserves it, especially since Millsap is probably going to get traded. Alright, next up for my 2 wildcard spots are both guards. I got Kyle Lowry averaging 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. I actually didn't have him last time because I didn't think he was doing that well, but he's been super hot lately. He's doing an incredible job, shooting 47.5% from the field and 44.5% from deep, so that definitely deserves him to be in the All-Star game and possibly even the 3-point shootout. And the final guard I have is Kyrie Irving, averaging 24 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 6 assists. He's shooting 48 from the field, 42 from deep, and 87.5 from the line. So he's having an excellent year. So I definitely think he deserves some recognition and definitely deserves to be in the All-Star game. And plus, he's one of the most fun players to watch at the All-Star game. All right, now going on to my honorable mentions. One guy that I actually forgot to even put my honorable mentions, but I don't even think he's really deserving, is Carmelo Anthony. He's really struggled, and this is a point of where I mentioned I don't want some legacy spots, where I feel like at this point it'd only be a legacy spot between him and Kristaps. I think Kristaps has a much better chance. So here are the 3 guys I think are honorable mentions. Andre Drummond, and even though I already mentioned that I'm a huge UConn fan, I want to see all UConn fans or UConn players succeed, Drummond has just been super disappointing. He had a really good game last night against Portland, but still, he kind of disappoints me more than he surprises and intrigues people this year. He's averaging 14.5 points and 13.5 rebounds, but he's not doing that well defensively, and I just think, given an all-star spot, unless he starts to really improve and start racking up more rebounds and improving defensively, I don't think it's really worth it for him. Alright, up next, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, Kristaps Porzingis. Maybe he deserves a spot. I think he could possibly get in. He's having a great year, 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. So I definitely think he deserves some sort of recognition somewhere in the NBA. So possibly an all-star game, especially maybe injury reserve or injury replacement. I think he definitely can find a spot on there. And finally, I have Hassan Whiteside, who's having a great season. But the Heat are just so bad, I can't really say that he deserves to be on there. He's averaging 17 points and 14 rebounds and 2 blocks per game, so he's doing really well. Let's move on to the Western Conference. So for the starters, almost anyone can agree on this. The only difference is most people don't know who the third front court player would be, but for the backcourt, everyone has Russ and Harden. Or Russell Westbrook, of course, I mentioned I haven't updated these stats in probably 2 or 3 days, so they might be a little out of date since Russell Westbrook has some crazy games. But he is right around 31 points, 10.5 rebounds, 10.5 assists. If you're averaging a triple-double, maybe you're not the MVP, but you are definitely in the All-Star game and definitely a starter. And he's not that great from the deep, but he's still shooting 42.5 from the field and 82 from the line, so pretty solid. He's the only reason why the Thunder are in the playoffs. James Harden is one of my favorite players and definitely my favorite for MVP. He's averaging 28.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 12 assists, while shooting 44.5 from the field, 35.5 from deep, and 84.5 from the line. So he's having a phenomenal season, and he is definitely my MVP favorite, and he definitely deserves to start. He is a great, great player to have on your team. Alright, next up we have Kawhi, who's averaging 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, and he's really efficient as well, close to that 50-40-90 with 47-40-92. He's one of the greatest defensive players we've ever seen, and possibly the greatest perimeter defender we've ever seen, so he definitely deserves some spot and recognition. Kevin Durant is having a phenomenal season, and even though I don't like the Warriors at all, he definitely deserves a start. Averaging 26 points, 8.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and I believe he's close to 2 blocks per game, while shooting a crazy, phenomenal, and insanely efficient 54 from the field, 39 from deep, and 87 from the line. So he can possibly get the 50, 40, 90 as well. And he's become a really great defensive player. So I think he definitely is a top 5 MVP candidate, but it hurts him mainly because of the fact that he's on the Warriors. If he was doing this on a different team, say the Celtics or back on Oklahoma City, I think he might be actually the MVP favorite due to his efficiency numbers, but that's just me. Now this last spot, a lot of people argue about where fans are thinking it's Zaza, which is stupid, and I'm happy that they fixed the fan voting. But I think it's between Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, and maybe it should be DeMarcus, but to me, I think it's Anthony Davis. Because not only because of his stats, but also because if he got this, I believe last year, he would have gotten so much more money because of the Rose provision. And I feel like, yeah, it won't affect him now, but at least try to give him an all-star start. He's averaging 29 points, 12 rebounds, 2.5 blocks per game, while shooting almost 50% from the field, 28% from deep zone. Not that great, but he's still a three-point shooter, and almost 80% from the line. He's a great player and a great young guy to have. And as I mentioned earlier, like Giannis, you definitely want to start your franchise with him. Maybe not number 1, but definitely top 3. Alright, next we got the bench. So first we got Chris Paul, who is starting to slip a little bit in his stats, but he's still having a really great year. Averaging 17.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 9.5 assists. I believe he's getting a lot of steals too. But he's really efficient, and that's really helping him, and he's the biggest reason why the Clippers are doing well. He's averaging 46, 40, and 87.5 as shooting splits, and he's having a great year. Alright, next up is Steph Curry, who is having a great year too, but not Steph Curry MVP standards. He's averaging 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists, so that's very good numbers and all-star worthy, but definitely not better than Harden and Westbrook. He's shooting 46.5 from the field, 40 from the line, or 40 from deep, my bad, and 93% from the line, leading the NBA in free throw percentage, I actually believe. And so he's pretty close to his 50, 40, 90 as well. And he's having a great season. He's also a huge reason why that the Golden State Warriors are doing so well. Next up is Gordon Hayward, who's having a phenomenal season and is a great reason why the Utah Jazz are doing so well. He's averaging about 22.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. Shooting 45%, 36.5 from deep, and 87.5 from the line. So because of his great season, he definitely deserves some recognition. And I think he's probably the most worthy out of every guy on the Utah Jazz. The Jazz deserve at least one player, and I think he is the number 1 reason why they're doing so well. I mean, Gobert is great defensively, but I'd put him there instead of Gobert. Alright, next up in another forward, we got Draymond Green, who I actually don't think I had last time. Even on honorable mentions, I might have. But he definitely deserves some recognition. He's averaging 11 points, 8.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, and 2 steals per game. Shooting 45, 33.5, and 66%. So he's not having a great shooting season, but he's the biggest reason why their defense is so good. Him and Kevin Durant have become a great defensive tandem. So I think he definitely deserves a spot. Now, next up is a guy who I mentioned earlier, might start. That's DeMarcus Cousins, averaging 28.5 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 45, 37, 78. So he's become a legitimate NBA three-point shooter and a legit three-point shooter. I mean, a legit shooter even from the line, and a legit scorer, averaging close to 29 points a game. I'd like to see his rebounding numbers go up since the fact that he's such a large man. He's, 7 feet tall and 280 pounds. He should definitely grab probably 12 or 13 rebounds a game, but he's averaging close to 29 points, and the Kings are in the playoffs, which is upsetting to my Portland Trailblazers. He definitely deserves some recognition. Speaking about the Trailblazers, up next is Damian Lillard, who actually missed his first extended stretch of his NBA career, I believe, recently with a sprained ankle. But still, he's having a great year. Stats-wise, the Trailblazers are kind of struggling, mainly because of their defense, but that doesn't really affect him because they're still the 9th seed, I believe, so it's not that terrible of a team. He's averaging 27 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 6 assists, shooting 45.5 from the field, 35 from deep, and 89.5 from the line, so pretty close to 50, 40, 90. Well, not super close, but I call it like a mini 50, 40, 90. Still having a great shooting year. And finally is Marc Gasol. Now, Marc Gasol is absolutely incredible. If you watch him and Conley this year, it is amazing to see. I wish Conley would make the team, but I think Gasol is more worth it and more deserving. He's having a great year. 19.5 points, which I believe is his career high. 6 rebounds, which is kind of low, but the thing is, they got so many other rebounders, he doesn't really need to rebound that much. And 4 assists per game. And of course, he's also leading one of the greatest defenses we've seen this year in the Memphis Grizzlies. They're a great defensive team. He's shooting 45 from the field, 41% from deep, which is phenomenal for a guy who never shot threes before the season, and 83 from the line. He's having a real good year. He completely redefined his game. I think he definitely deserves a spot. Alright, next up are my 3 honorable mentions, and Karl-Anthony Towns, Klay Thompson, and Rudy Gobert. Towns, I thought he should have been an all-star, but the thing is he's been struggling mightily lately, so that's why I put him off the team. He is averaging 21.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, so he definitely deserves some sort of recognition throughout the NBA, like Kristaps Porzingis, but definitely not all-star recognition unless he's an injury reserve. Next up is Klay Thompson. He's having a pretty solid year as well, 21.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 2 assists. However, the issue is he's not doing as well as he used to do, and this all-star game, in my opinion, should be based a little bit off of expectations. So if you're having a down year, I don't think you really deserve it, especially over guys in Damian Lillard and Chris Paul. So I don't have him on there, and he's shooting a little bit worse than he used to from 3, at about 38%, I think. And finally, Rudy Gobert, another guy who probably deserves to be in there, but just didn't make the cut at 12.5 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. Definitely let me know down below what you think about my teams. Maybe I forgot someone. I know maybe a lot of you might hate that I didn't put on Carmelo, but I just don't think he really deserves it. So let me know if I forgot anyone. Let me know who you have on your teams, and it'd be great to talk to you guys. People are trying to talk to me more on my videos, and it is absolutely amazing. And it's fun to talk to people about the NBA, so definitely like this video, comment, subscribe for more videos like this, and share with your friends. So thank you guys for watching, and of course, have a good day.